everybody like held their breath. And
everybody got in position.
That's
picture, probably so taking it now, though.
Probably now, but it was a lovely picture. You all did great.
Whatever. We try. It's hard to pose when you don't know when you're supposed to pose. All right. So welcome everyone on TikTok. If you could please give me a heads up that you can see me and hear me okay, that would be really helpful. We don't want to go ahead and get started with service until we know that we're in good shape here with the technology. Thank you so much. All right, wonderful. And I can't see how YouTube looks, so I'm going to ask for the same thing. If you guys tuning in here through YouTube could please give me a thumbs up that you can hear and see me all right. That would be really helpful. And as soon as we get that go ahead, we're going to get into service tonight. All right, thank you on YouTube. So welcome everybody. This is Roots Revival Interfaith. This is our Sunday service. We have summer hours right now. So every Sunday, 9 p.m. Eastern, we're going to be offering service here on YouTube at Ask Ivy, on TikTok at Ask Ivy. And if you guys don't have time to watch the full service, you can tune in later. These will go up into the playlist under Roots Revival Interfaith on YouTube or anywhere that you receive a podcast. If you guys can't hear me very well on TikTok, get off of there and go over to YouTube at Ask Ivy. I also want to invite you guys. We are an interactive church. So if you want to post your questions, your comments on today's sermon, as well as your prayer and healing requests, we will be getting to those a bit later. So at Roots Revival, we are focused on the three truths. That's numerology, astrology, and intuitive intelligence. Intuitive intelligence breaking down to psychic, mediumistic, and empathic abilities. We believe that if you invest learning in the lost language of these three wisdoms of the universe, they will support you. They will lead and guide you, help you to stay on path, and ultimately heal and give healing out to others around you. Now, this week, our sermon is on being tested. So today we're talking about, am I being tested, and walking the walk. Okay, we have with us Reverend Paul Casey, Healing Arts, taking your questions and dealing with technology. How are you, Paul?
Thank you. How are you?
I'm good. We have Reverend Christina Del Rey, our astrologer. How are you, Christina?
Excellent.
Okay, good. And we have Reverend Danny Johnson, our numerologist. How are you, Danny?
I'm great. I'm happy to be here.
Good. All right, wonderful. So let's talk about this, okay? What exactly happens when you start to feel as though you're being tested in the world? It can feel more like an attack. It can feel more like blocks and obstacles, like you're going through some kind of turmoil, and you don't understand why. A lot of people automatically turn toward negative thinking, like they're having a stroke of bad luck, they're getting karmic kickback, they deserve this punishment, or they may assume that they are going in the wrong direction in their life. Now, that's healthy to stop when you see trouble and to say, am I going in the wrong direction? Am I in a toxic relationship I shouldn't be involved in? Am I about to make a terrible choice with my work or my career? You know, is there something I'm overlooking? That's wise. But when you don't have any proof of that, when you have been making all the right decisions, if your gut instinct, if the universe has told you that you're going in the right direction, you need to have faith and understand that in those times we get tested the most. So it's not necessarily that you're doing anything wrong. Okay. So I want to talk about the three different areas where I see we get tested the most and the two different attitudes that you can have about this. So let's start with area number one. The other two will kind of play off of that. So number one, you get tested by the universe when you have learned a lesson officially. Once a lesson is learned, you're expected to walk it out. That's walking the walk, not just talking the talk, not just going out there and teaching everybody else about the enlightenment that you have, but actually applying it to your life. You won't just get tested once or twice. You will be tested repeatedly until you can prove that you are understanding how to apply it, that you will be doing it consistently, and ultimately that you will be using it to assist others. Now, what this means is that it sometimes lays dormant for a long time. You may not be tested in an area of growth for years, and then it will just come up again as soon as you got comfortable and you started to relax, and we'll see again if you're still going to walk it out. So this is something we should be mindful of at all times, that the lessons we have learned are going to be tested in walking it out. Now, area number 2, again, this plays off of the first one. You will most commonly be tested by other people that are in your inner circle. I have a free mini class up here on YouTube for the TikTokers. This is YouTube at Ask Ivy. The free mini class is in the playlist under Fighting the Dark. I talk about the 5 different ways you go under attack, you face blocks and obstacles, new level, new devil. Every single time in your life when you are about to level up in any area, this isn't just spiritual, this is anything, you are going to be tested. So Fighting the Dark will break that down for you. It will help you to understand those 5 different areas and prepare accordingly. But the first thing I talk about in that class is how it sadly comes from family. It'll come from your closest friends. It'll come from your spouse. Okay, it'll come from coworkers that you thought you were pretty close to. They will typically tell you things like you're making bad decisions in your life, or you seem to be going through something negative, you're on the wrong path, you're just not you. You're doing something wrong. And that's really unfortunate because usually these people have no compass of their own. They haven't perfected that area of their life. They may know nothing about what you're going through, the decisions that you're making, but they become an authority on telling you that you're going in the wrong direction or that they're not going to support you anymore. They may also do this non-verbally. They may just do this through their actions. They're just not there to support you anymore, or they're causing you additional stress, or they're causing you stress behind your back and you're finding out about it. This is an unfortunate truth that we all have to live with. Now, area number 3 is on random people and random situations. Flat tires, okay, toxic people approaching you who feel comfortable, getting a little too intimate, a lot of hassle, and you don't know where it's coming from financial discord. All of a sudden, things are breaking and you have to spend money on repairs. The other day, I was on the Skyway here in Buffalo. For anyone from this area who understands what the Skyway is, you are way, way, way up there, okay? You fear the entire time going to plummet to your death. Well, I was having a great leveling up that day, but the air freshener popped off of my vent and went under my brakes. So I could not stop or slow down when I had to exit. So the whole time I was up there, I was frantic. It's things like that that will steal your peace if you don't know to expect it, to stay calm, to stay rooted and grounded, to handle it. So that's the best advice that I can give. Okay, check out Fighting the Dark, be prepared. It's things like that, and it's never going to stop. We often think, when will I just have a breakthrough? When will life get easy for me? Never. As long as you're on planet Earth, this is just part of the system with every level up. So prepare to deal with it. And tune those people out, those random toxic people that seem to come out of the woodwork. They're like crabgrass. They're everywhere when you're about to level up. That is real. That is an attack. And you need to tune them out entirely. You do not address them. You do not feed the negative energy that they want. And you move on with your life. Now, let's talk about the 2 different views that you can have on this reality. Okay, you can either say, number 1, I am burnt out. I am stressed out. Life is not good right now, and I need to lay down and take a nap. Or number two, you can say, my life is actually going really well. I'm headed to great places. This feels in my gut like a level up. And I must have something really good coming to me in a minute if I'm getting attacked this much. I'm going to pass these tests. I'm going to stay centered, and I'm going to celebrate. Okay? Reverend Danny, Reverend Christina, what did you guys want to say on this today? Again, you guys post your questions, post your comments, prayer and healing requests. We will be getting to those, and donations are appreciated. Who wants to go?
I'll hop in really quickly. So with the thing with being tested, it feels like right now, collectively, I feel like this I think will resonate with a lot of people right now, with things that are happening. One of the things that I realized when we're being tested is that we don't realize that we're being tested until maybe a quarter of the way through the test, maybe a third of the way through the test. Like, it's not when the attacks start. Sometimes, especially when that not so great energy of the universe, it, especially as it studies us and it knows us, and it is acutely hits at our triggers and acutely hits at the things that we are sensitive about, things that we are still in the process of healing. When we're in the process of trying to figure out and trying to manage the feelings that come when those things happen, we don't realize that it's a test. So it's like in that moment, it's like, okay, let me stay in control. Let me stay mindful and present. And then a quarter of the way in, it's just, oh, wait, this is a test. Okay, all right. So it's just, and it's those first few moments of the test are so critically important, because those are the moments when the lessons about, and I so appreciate you saying about, us putting the lessons to the test, because that is when the mindfulness is so important. And that's when staying cognizant of our feelings and remembering that feelings come and go, not to react to the feelings that come up. And remembering that, as that not so great energy, it plans its time in some really acute ways. It's really important when we are in the midst of a test that, and especially when we are feeling things back to back, especially, that we don't respond in ways that we will later regret. Because the thing is, the part of the test is, we're all still responsible for the things that we do and say, no matter what, even in the midst of a test. And that's sometimes a part of it as well, because it's when we're in the midst of it, we don't want to have to we don't want what is the great things that are coming for us to be affected by the way that we might react in the midst of that particular test. And it's a wow phenomena, because it is, by the time like we are cognitively ready to recognize, okay, this is a thing, it's just, we could potentially, especially at moments when we're vulnerable. The thing with tests, we're realizing as well, is that when we're being tested, managing our feelings, recognizing what's going on, staying level, that takes energy, and that can be a bit exhausting. So by the time we're done trying to stay level and trying to not allow for our feelings and our emotions during the time of a test to get the best of us, we then get tired. And in your video, Fighting the Dark, both your video from a few years ago and the most recent one, when we're tired, that's when we're vulnerable. So it's like we're being tested. We have to manage our feelings, manage our emotions, manage all this stuff to make sure that we pass the test. Then we're haggard and tired because we've been tested. And then once we're tired, we then have to stay even more vigilant that the not so great stuff catches us off guard. It's a cycle. It really is. So it's like the thing of getting through it. It is just, it's patience. It is breathing through it. It's taking it literally one day at a time, sometimes an hour at a time. But the thing is remembering, though, that we are still responsible for our what we say, what we do. It is our reactions to the test. we're responsible for them. We're responsible for passing the test, as well as the long-lasting impact of the things, our reactions to the test. And in it, you're right. Sometimes the tests, especially as we are about to level up, they really target at the relationships that we value the most. They really, I mean, it's like, and that's uncanny. It's just like, oh, you really value this person. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Let's do something. And the thing is, and that's where it's like managing our feelings and emotions are so important, because it's just that by the end of the test, we don't want to like potentially harm a relationship or relationships that we really treasure. And that can be, none of us deserve that. So the effort and the work that's needed and necessary in order for us to pass those tests and make it through them successfully is worth it.
And I think a lot of people back out because of what you just said. A lot of people don't get the blessings, have the prosperity, get to ever enjoy that level up. Because when the relationships closest to us get attacked, we will say, but this person is in my heart. And if there's some kind of discord happening right now, I don't want to see the truth. I would rather shut down everything I'm doing in my life right now and just cripple myself just to stop. Nobody wants to rock the boat, especially when it comes to their relationships. And so we stifle ourselves and we don't even realize that we're doing it. All we know is that whatever we were up to in our lives needs to stop. Everything should halt and we should go into hiding, and it's almost like this, hibernation mode. And we do that a lot to preserve those relationships. And I'm glad you brought that up, because another aspect, another perspective, right, we could take in all of this is when you level up, people that should not be going with you, every time the bus stops, somebody's got to get off, okay? People that cannot go with you up to that next level have to get off the bus. They have to be removed. And that's okay. We need to embrace that is part of the growth process. But how, Reverend Danny said, when you are reactionary, you're coming from a place of ego, fear, control. While you're being tested, you could destroy positive relationships. And so we really need to pull away from everything that we're doing. When you're going through a testing period, it's okay to delegate more. It's okay to remove whatever responsibilities you have that don't necessarily need you at that time. Create space for you to deal with the exhaustion level, because there is no kind of exhaustion like mental, emotional exhaustion. So take care of you more during that time. So true. Reverend Christina, what were you going to say?
So, a little side note on the astrology, and I'm sure Ivy had no idea, but this Leo new moon is really all about leveling up. So, really perfect timing. So today we had the new moon, and it was also the Lion's Gate, which is really just an alignment of a fixed star and the Earth, but it's known for an upgrade. And Leo is all about the heart chakra. And this new moon is squaring Uranus. So whatever you're releasing out of your life, whatever structure is not working anymore, you have to have the courage and the bravery. And that's also Leo too, is, Leo's work, like your sun sign, you work your whole life to become your sun sign. So, we step into our courage and we step into our bravery. So whatever you're starting on this new moon, make sure that you write down your intentions. I did right before this show. And, make sure that you are, leveling up. You're getting ready to level up. So there will be blocks. So there's, this is like the perfect timing. When I look at, am I being tested? It really is kind of saying, like, can you weather the storm? Because there will be a storm. And, there's all kinds of things, like, there's temptations, like, there's temptations to tell people off. There's temptations to follow, the distractions that you're talking about. But it all boils down to will. And if you use your will, to resist the temptation and you use your will to weather the storm, that's when the benefits come later down the road. It's like, like Saturn, right? He's like, okay, there's going to be a storm and it's going to kind of suck. But if you do the work that you are supposed to do, then the rewards come later. If you don't do the work that Saturn wants you to do, you're going to get just what you put in. You're going to get the same thing out, because that's what Saturn's all about, putting the same thing, whatever you put in, you get out. So, if you say, nope, I'm going to stay the course, I can think of many times in my life, like maybe this one time when I was like miserable at work, but I knew I had to stay and get through it because I knew it was the job for me. And the next year it was so much better. But, it was like my Saturn lesson there, because you can't quit. And when I say, can you weather the storm? There's a lot of people that can't weather the storm. There's a ton of people that can't weather the storm because it takes strong character and strong will. And not everybody has that. So just know that, something is coming, and situations too. I have a story about that. And you guys know, because I shared it with you, but, I was riding down the street and in my car, just driving, and all of a sudden the door behind me, in the back seat where I normally would have my children, completely shatters from what we think was a rock that flew out of a lawnmower. So these are the types of things that you get when you are leveling up. I mean, it just completely shattered. Like there really honestly should have been a child there, but I decided not to take them at the last moment. So, and then, and I also noticed this too, when you're vibing high with somebody else and, like say Danny and I are talking and we're like kind of vibing, stuff will happen to both of us. So that week that happened, my friend, his battery died on his car. So if you're vibing with somebody and you're high, you know what I mean? That block is going to come. That situation's going to come. And like we talked about, like how you can get so burnt out and you get tired, and that's really where meditation comes in, because you have to strengthen your will, you have to higher your vibration. What I've noticed in the past month is if I really work to keep my vibration high, I do so much better. So it's almost like I have to go meditate. Even if I'm just sitting somewhere, you know what I mean, like quietly, so that I can raise my vibration. And then once I raise the vibration, it just, life seems a little bit better and I can deal a little bit better. So these are things I'm kind of experimenting with right now, just to kind of see how, because I like to have a strategy of how to deal with things. So I don't go in blind. So that's my strategy right now. I'm just kind of playing with it, but it's been working. So, and then what happens, let's say, what happens if you don't level up? Let's say you give up, right? You're not going to go through with it. You're just going to quit, take a nap, just succumb to it. Well, then you plateau and you get into a cycle and you get stuck, and it's very difficult to get out. And then you become complacent, and then your life starts to suck and you don't know why. You can't get out of it. And it's like circling. The only way out, we have to constantly change ourselves. If we want to hit a new level, like think of athletes, right? They don't go to the gym once a week. You know what I mean? Like if they want to accelerate themselves, they know what they have to do. They have to watch their diet. They have to use their will to level up their game. So we have to be like athletes. We have to use our will to start applying the lesson that we are learning, even in those hard times, so that it becomes a part of us. It's like we have to become a new person. We have to become, like, if you're trying to level up, you are not the person that you were. You are a new person. So that new person, that's the person that's got to, step up and do things that make yourself uncomfortable. And nobody wants to do that. That's the problem. Nobody wants to do that because it's so much easier to be comfortable, but it's not happier. It's just easier. Mars is our will. Uranus is our freedom. know your placements. And, like, if you don't listen to that inner voice and you keep ignoring this, and I am living proof, your life will just crash around you and it'll force you anyway. So you might as well do it before that happens. And you make it so much harder if you resist. Like, it's just, do the work, do what makes you uncomfortable. I had a student call me on my birthday, and he's very uncomfortable doing anything that he is not good at. Okay. This is his comfort zone. And he said, Miss P, I signed up for sports and recreation at ECC or something like that. And I was like, okay, well, it's going to be uncomfortable, but that's okay. It's supposed to be. Like, that's how you get good at stuff. And I'm already giving him the pep talk because I know how he is. So just give up, So you can't give up. You gotta keep going. You gotta keep going. It's going to be uncomfortable. And guess what? You're not the only one uncomfortable. You have to keep persevering until it becomes, better. So we always say, practice makes permanent. That's what we say in this house. So, but anyway, that's my thoughts on that.
And keep the company of other people. He knew in that moment he had to reach out to Miss Christina. He knew, because if we don't keep the company of other people who will level up and push through that discomfort, we really can feel like we are the only ones in the world who are experiencing, that amount of fear and weight. And it can be crippling. And we just have to know where to go, because it isn't always your family and friends. They may not be a bunch of level uppers. It doesn't make them bad people, but it's not who you go to for support in a time like that. I just want to say too, Christina was talking about being put in a big timeout, and basically the universe at some point, if you continue to stall out, if you don't complete the tasks that you're here to do, you will end up with your life in a complete rut, and you cannot get out of it. I tell my students there are 3 phases to this. And in the 3rd phase, it's called the breaking of the legs. And we are often given, from the first time we are notified by the universe that we're to make a change or a level up, we're given approximately 2 to 2.5 years until we get to that breaking of the legs. And that is a big fat timeout chair. And good luck climbing your way out of that pit. So it's just not worth it to even get there. Just go with your intuition and know what you're supposed to do. I also wanted to point out that when we aren't finishing what we're supposed to do, a big warning sign is that you feel detached from yourself. You feel detached from spirit. You feel detached from the passion in your life. You don't know what's wrong. You're just kind of numb. I think a lot of people walking around with anxiety and depression, and, they've just got this disposition of humdrum. A lot of it is this. Look at what you were supposed to finish in your life. Get back on track and see if it doesn't lighten up.
So one thing is, but Christina, you just describing the new moon and the Leo moon being like the moon of leveling up, right? Yeah. That makes so much sense. Thank you for sharing that. You always kind of make the world make sense through the astrology, because so the thing with, we've discussed how the ancestors and the angels, they send numbers, how there's just certain moments when we look at the clock, we look at the microwave, there are just certain numbers that appear often or that reappear. And the number 22 has kept coming up. And so 11 and 22 in numerology are master numbers. Those are numbers that just have a bit more energetic charge. And I've noticed that during moments of tests, when I ask for, okay, and especially when cognitively knowing that it's a test, and I ask God and I ask the universe, I ask everybody just for a little bit of reassurance, a little bit of guidance, and the number 22, like 522, 422, like the number 22 just kept coming up. And what the 22 number means is relating the spiritual with the practical. And so we have these, and Ivy, you were describing these lessons that we understand, but until we apply them, they're very ethereal and they're very, like we know them and we know them to be true, but then it is the practical. It is then taking what we know in spirit and literally applying it to this human gas ball of an earth here and being able to make sense of it and to see it actually in action. And so the number 22 has just appeared over and over again, and it's just an affirmation that the universe and spirit and the ancestors and the angels, they're watching, they see us, and our work and our effort to pass the tests don't go unnoticed, even when they're quiet and they're watching,
For those of you tuning in through TikTok, I just posted that. Was it yesterday? And a bunch of you, no matter what number video I put up, people were saying, I keep seeing 22. I keep seeing 22. And I was like, it's coming. The number 2 video is coming. But it was the number 2, not 22. And I didn't know that. That's amazing to know that it is. How did you say that? It is the connection of the spiritual, the theoretical, the ethereal with, what'd you say, tangibility, practicality, walking it out?
It's like making it real. It's like taking what we know in spirit and applying it and making it real. And that's exactly how you started off our class, describing.
Wow. Love that. All right.
Danny, it's 8/8 today too. And that's, I don't know, like that's supposed to mean something too. I don't know. But
8 is fantastic. I love the fact that it's 8/8, and the number 8 is interesting. So it's like the visionary being able to take the idea, the vision, and then applying it, and not only applying it, but bringing people with you. So that is just pretty significant as well, especially for folks who are being tested at this moment. It is, being able to kind of like share it, and not only how we can possibly make it through, but the fact that we can make it through, that's so cool.
That's wild. We are about to get into your questions and your comments. So we'll have Paul pull these up on the screen here. If you guys have not already posted your prayer and healing requests, do so now. We're going to be getting to those in just a second. And at this time, we are accepting donations. Thank you so much for that. Also, everyone here on YouTube, if you could hit that thumbs up button. And I just want to give one more reminder for those of you on TikTok. If you want to switch over to YouTube at this time, go to Ask Ivy. And if you guys want to listen to old sermons, you can go here on YouTube into the playlist for Roots Revival or anywhere that you receive a podcast. Okay, so what do we have coming in?
Well, this is a question here about habits.
Okay. So from Hunter, do you guys have any advice or different approaches on getting rid of bad habits? Who wants to go first? I'll go first. I just eliminate thought and I eliminate emotion. I have a lot of Gemini, Sun, Moon, Rising, and a few other houses. I think Christina knows my chart better than I do. But that may be part of it, where I could sort of detach from emotion easier, maybe than the average person. However, Gemini is all about thinking, overthinking. And so even when I can detach from my emotion, I still really struggle with overthinking. For the love of God, like, when do I catch a break on this? And I have learned that to change my habits, I have to almost really disassociate with myself, but it's not myself. I look at it this way. There are truths, and the truths in my life, the things that I need to accomplish, the reality of why I'm here and what I'm supposed to do does not necessarily match. It often will not match my logic, my overthinking, my fears, my need to control things, and it will rarely match my emotions, the way that I feel about what I have to do. So I've learned to take those two areas and cut them out and only focus on what I'm supposed to do. And that is something that takes a lot of practice. I do have a free mini class up here on YouTube called Emotion versus Intuition, and another one called Logic versus Intuition that might help you guys.
In terms of breaking bad habits and developing new habits, one thing that I do is kind of similarly to how Reverend Ivy described. I envision the benefit of creating the new habit. So I kind of think about, okay, so what is that new habit that I'd like to develop? And I think about and envision, because like in terms of kind of with manifestation, sometimes it is about like literally envisioning what it will feel like to be in that space once something materializes, and envisioning how it will feel to actually be in that space. And so by envisioning and thinking, this is how my life will be affected. These are the changes that will occur in my life when I do this. And I kind of do a cost and benefit. Is the benefit of creating this new habit worth the uncomfortability of doing it? And that's just the way to start it. Then it takes some practice. And I love when Christina said practice makes permanent, because then it's the practicing of it and sometimes getting it right, sometimes not so right, but still trying. So that's how I get started with trying to create a new habit.
Yeah, I mean, it takes a lot of will, practice, like you said, and maybe like replacement behavior too. So that and then like Danny said, envisioning it so that you can see each part of your day. How is that going to go? Like, when is your will going to be tested the most? So you have to think about how you might handle that, and you're going to envision it. I would ask my spirit guides for help. I would be thankful before it even happens. So whatever outcome you're hoping for, I would go into a meditation. I would be thankful before it happens. I would, it depends on what you're doing, but I would create some kind of positive affirmation, being grateful, and then I would try to raise the vibration in my heart, trying to get it to be true ahead of breaking the actual habit. The high vibration and the confirmation in a meditation. So, bad habits are not easy, but especially if it has to do with your health or something like that, you have to think like, I'm so healthy now, and I'm so grateful for my health. And, you have to kind of put that out there, and you have to raise your vibration, and that's a lot of work. This is not easy stuff. The alternative is to just keep doing it. But what is the outcome going to be from that? So you have to, your mind and heart kind of have to match.
That's right. And it's not easy to just fail either. People are like, oh, it's easier. No, it's not. It's not easy to sit still. That's an unbearable feeling in itself. It really is better to just do the work. And it's like, you only have to do the work in front of you, not all of it, not years and years worth of it, just what's in front of you at that time. Don't look too far ahead. Task at hand. Did we have another one?
Yeah, this is about, since it's not in the statement itself, it's the detached feeling that you spoke about.
Okay. So this is from Shauna. I have a close friend with that detached feeling we were talking about earlier, with that feeling now, and her doctor is putting her on meds for that. She isn't one that even would start there, which without really stepping where I shouldn't. How does one help? It's not your business, so I would be very careful. People are super touchy about mental health. And once someone is given a diagnosis, even if it's like utterly wrong and way off base, they may hold on to that with a vengeance. And they do not appreciate, now that they have an answer, they see it as relief. And so I would be very careful treading there. I would offer her an opportunity to see this video, other free mini classes, speak about what your perception is when you went through that. And it's sort of like you're just putting a line out there, but you're not trying to override the diagnoses, because it is, again, it's touchy, and we also don't know what other elements you may not understand. So there could be more there than meets the eye. If she's so detached, that she's having serious issues, like I'm healthy being detached. I only use that when I need to. If she's doing it in situations that aren't good, it could be putting her at risk. So maybe we, just want to say, this is how I do it. Here's another perception. Just wanted to put this out there for you. And then I would let her come to you for the rest of it.
I wholeheartedly agree, Ivy. It's sometimes when you describe how important it is to know what is our work versus other people's work, and just want to be careful not to allow allow ourselves to be brought into something that it might take a minute to have to pull back out of once she's engaged in that way.
I usually ask people, I'm like, oh, I've been listening to this thing and it's been really good. Or, like, you can look at this and I'll send it to you. And then I kind of just send them something. And if they watch it, they watch it. If they don't, they don't. But, I tried. So you can't really tell people, it's all in the right timing. Everybody comes to their realizations on their own. And, just, you got there first, and, you can extend the olive branch, but then, like, it's up to them.
Well, and what Paul can put in the comments here for us, if you will, Paul, is a couple different topics that we did here at church and that I did in the mini classes here on YouTube. So we have the war on intuition, and we have psychology, therapy, and spirituality, how they're intertwined. These are free classes that you could pass along to people who you think are in a similar situation where they've been misdiagnosed and it's actually their awakening or their intuition, and how we've been colonized and, institutionalized, and we are fighting up against systems that profit off of us, being sick when we're actually intuitive. So those can help a lot too. And that way you didn't say it. You just put it on us. Do we have another question?
Yes. This is from Alex.
From Alex. As an empath, how can I not absorb negative energy around me? We have a training for this. It's called Empathic Awareness. Go to the website. Paul will put this in the comments, please. Thank you. And that will teach you. It's a 2-hour training on what empathic ability is, what the 4 different levels are, and how you can protect yourself along the way. Do we have another one? Okay, do we have prayer and healing requests? Okay, so we at this time are going to get to the prayer and healing requests. Now, we don't have any coming in. So if you guys want to post over the course of the week, or if you're watching this through a download later on, we do check these and we will continue to pray over you. In the meantime, Reverend Christina, Reverend Danny, and I will, offer up some prayers and over a general prayer over, our entire service, those tuning in for the service at this time. Holy Spirit, we thank you for being with us. We thank you for always guiding us and helping us to understand what it is that you're instructing us to do in a language that we can understand. I pray over everyone tuning in tonight and listening to this in the future, that they receive some extra blessings and that they can have their own personal leveling up in communication with you, understanding that you have their best interest in mind, understanding that you are living within them, that you are the intuition in their gut, in their higher mind, their third eye. You channel through them all the time, letting them know what is for their highest and best good. Help people tuning in here to trust that more than they ever have, and to tune out all of the negative influences around them. Help them to tune out and to tune in. Did you guys want to add anything to this?
I'd just like to add, would love to lift up prayers for anyone who might be struggling with self-acceptance in any way. Pray that you know that you are meant to be here. You were everything about your existence and presence here on this earth, in this world, was divinely ordered. And pray that you continue to just take one step at a time and keep moving forward. And just remember the words of Harriet Tubman. When you hear the dogs coming, keep going. You just got to keep going. Don't give up.
Amen. Okay. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in. Always lovely to have you guys here. We will be back next Sunday. We are still on summer hours. I am not embracing the back to school and the pumpkin spice and the apple cinnamon anything at this point. We are staying at 9 o'clock for as long as we possibly can. So we'll see you back here on YouTube and TikTok at Ask Ivy. Again, if you want to listen to previous services anywhere that you receive a podcast or here in the playlist. Thank you, Reverend Danny, Reverend Christina, Reverend Paul. Okay, have a great night, everybody. Have a great week.
You too.
Thank you.